I had just transmigrated into a novel. The moment I arrived, my fiancée shoved a share transfer agreement in front of me. I was still in a daze, while rows of bullet comments floated across my vision. Male lead. Hurry up and sign. Only when you give everything to the female lead and then jump off a building will she finally wake up. Here it is, the most heart-wrenching moment of the male lead. Ahhh. I can't wait for the female lead to finally realize the truth and brutally destroy the toxic second male lead. What are you waiting for? Male lead. Staring at these insane bullet comments, I tore the share transfer agreement to shreds. I slapped the female lead across the face. To hell with this toxic romance plot. You want to sacrifice me? Then I'll destroy this disgusting cheating couple first. Chapter 1. I transmigrated into the world of a novel, and not just any novel, but one from the Deadman genre, and I became the male lead. The male lead was the CEO of a publicly listed company. He fell in love with the female lead at first sight. Step by step, he promoted her from an ordinary employee to vice president. Everyone in the company knew he was a full-blown simp. The vice president practically ran the whole place. But just 1 month before their wedding, the female lead started messing around with a male intern. Ignoring the male lead's objections, she bent all the rules and made the second male lead her personal assistant. She embezzled company funds to buy matching luxury watches and a $1 million sports car for him. When he got sick, she stayed by his side all night at the hospital. She had never even cooked a meal for the male lead. Yet she brewed herbal medicine and made soup for the second male lead with her own hands. After recovering, the second male lead swaggered into the male lead's office to provoke him. Before the female lead entered, he slapped himself and falsely accused the male lead of hitting him. The female lead was furious and gave the male lead 2 choices. Either kneel and apologize to him, or transfer your company shares to me as proof of your innocence. Otherwise, forget about this wedding. The male lead refused to apologize and chose the latter. 2 months later, the female lead and her assistant held a lavish wedding. But during the ceremony, the assistant's childhood sweetheart crashed the venue with a baby bump. She pointed at the female lead and screamed that she was a homewrecker. Only then did the female lead finally see the second male lead's true nature, and realize that the male lead, who had given up everything for her, was her real love. She ran out of the hotel in a panic to find him, but the male lead, heartbroken and hopeless, jumped off the rooftop of the same hotel, and died right in front of her. Overcome with grief, the female lead completely broke down. She tortured the second male lead to death and eventually lost her mind. That was the grand finale. As I was recalling the original plot, bullet comments floated up again. This is it, male lead's most touching moment. Male lead. Sign it. Only if you give her everything and jump to your death will she wake up. Exactly. If you don't sacrifice it all, how will she realize your worth later? How will she regret it? Ah, I can't wait for her to awaken and destroy that trashy second male lead. What are you waiting for? Male lead. $1 says he'll sign. He's a simp through and through. He'd die for the female lead if she asked. What's a few shares compared to that? Chapter 2. Seeing that I kept spacing out, Willow's other female assistant frowned slightly and spoke. President Wong, don't take this the wrong way, but I'd like to say a few things. Vice President Liu has been running the company for you, and she's already exhausted. Even if she's been a bit close to Makoto, it's only for work, isn't it? But you just had to pick a fight with Makoto, making things difficult for Vice President Liu. You really should reflect on yourself and show her more consideration. Just sign the share transfer agreement already. It's the least you can do to apologize to her. You're getting married anyway. What difference does it make whose name the shares are under? I looked at Willow's assistant with a half smile, half sneer. My stare clearly unsettled her, but she forced herself to stay composed and smiled as she asked. President Wong, don't you think I have a point? The original host really was pathetic. He was the president and largest shareholder of the company, yet he only had 1 assistant, while Willow had 2, and both of them dared to walk all over him. It was obvious just how worthless he was in Willow's eyes. The original host might have been willing to endure everything for her, but I wasn't. I waved at the assistant to come over. She had no choice but to bend down and bring her face close. I gently patted her cheek. So what is it now? Even Willow's lapdog thinks she can bark at me. The assistant's face changed instantly. A flash of panic crossed her features as she stammered. President Wong, I overstepped. I spoke out of turn. Please don't lower yourself to argue with a lowly assistant like me. Makoto, the intern and second male lead, held his burning red cheek, tears streaming down again. Willow, look at him. Just now he denied hitting me, and now look at his attitude. Willow's eyes were red with rage. George, that's enough. How long are you going to keep this up? Have I been too kind to you? Hurry up and sign the share transfer agreement, or don't expect me to ever forgive you. I sneered, tore up the share transfer agreement right in front of her, and slapped her across the face. Willow, you're nothing but a plaything to me. Who do you think you are, yelling at me like that? Chapter 3. Willow was completely stunned. She stared at me in disbelief. She couldn't wrap her head around the fact that I actually hit her. My office had glass walls. At that moment, the blinds weren't drawn. Everyone in the company could see what was happening inside. They all turned to look, faces filled with shock. The bullet comments exploded instantly. What the fuck? What the hell is going on? How does he dare? Why is the plot going off the rails? What happened to the equity transfer? Director, get out here and explain yourself. Where's my angsty drama? Wasn't this supposed to be tragic? If the male lead doesn't lose everything, how's he going to jump off the building? How will the female lead have her awakening? George, get on your knees and beg for forgiveness. You're only pushing her further away like this. Use your brain. He hit the female lead. How dare he? Isn't he afraid she'll stop loving him? They've all gone mad. Completely insane. Willow's eyes were blazing with fury. George, are you insane? You actually hit me. She was fuming, trembling with rage, but when her gaze met my icy stare, a trace of panic flickered across her face. The George who used to cater to her every whim. Why did he suddenly seem like a different man altogether? A strange unease rose within her, making her uncomfortable. She forced herself to suppress the anxiety, speaking in her usual threatening tone. George, you must kneel and apologize to me, or don't even think about getting my forgiveness. Fuck your apology, I snapped. I took you, just a low-level employee, and step by step promoted you to vice president, and you went and got yourself a boy toy behind my back. And now you want me to transfer my shares to you. Have you no shame? I slapped Willow again, this time on the other side of her face. This slap was even harder. She stumbled back and fell to the floor. One side of her face was already swollen red. Willow's face darkened, her eyes full of venom. Enough, George. There's nothing inappropriate between Makoto and me. How dare you slander me like this? I'm giving you one last chance. Kneel and apologize, or I swear I won't forgive you this time. Chapter 4. I actually laughed out of rage and slapped her twice again. Fuck. You bought him a couple's watch, then gifted him $1 million luxury car, and now you're telling me there's nothing going on between you two. You think I'm a fucking idiot? The bullet comments were going berserk. The whole script's gone off the rails. George, snap out of it. What the fuck? What kind of chaotic move was that? Where's my devoted male lead? Did the screenwriter choke on garbage? George, get down and beg for forgiveness now, or the female lead's gonna turn love into hatred. Violent. Way too violent. The female lead was tricked too. How is this her fault? Ugh. This feels like a story straight out of a guy's web novel. That slap was crisp and loud, so damn satisfying. The female assistant standing nearby was trembling, her eyes filled with fear. Willow's gaze was scattered, and her aura weakened significantly. She stammered, I just saw how hard he worked, so I rewarded him. Did you have to make such a big scene over something so small? Are you even a man? Damn it, even now. This shameless woman was still trying to lie her way out of it. My temper was flaring, and I had no intention of holding back. Makoto finally snapped out of his shock and, seeing I was about to strike again, rushed to shield Willow. President Wong, please don't blame Willow. It's all my fault. My relationship with her is purely professional. If you must blame someone, blame me. I looked down at him, cold and sharp. Makoto, you're ambitious and a bit cunning too. A flicker of disdain flashed across Makoto's eyes. He thought I used to be a pushover, and now I was just a reckless brute. Either way, he never saw me as a threat. He replied smoothly, thank you for the compliment, President Wong, but my little tricks could never compare to your brilliance. I smirked with disdain and said, too bad, though. You messed with the one person you should have never messed with, and the kind of person I hate the most is a pretentious coquette like you. With that, I slammed a heavy kick into his gut. The pain was so intense that he dropped to his knees instantly. My gaze toward Makoto was filled with contempt and indifference as I continued. But you're also incredibly stupid. You're so desperate to climb the ladder, let's see if you can handle the price that comes with it. Makoto's face twisted in agony, but what truly broke him was the way I looked at him, like he was less than nothing. He gritted his teeth and struggled to his feet, eyes now shimmering with that pitiful, wounded look again. President Wong, I know you hate me. If you feel like you haven't hit me enough, go ahead and keep going. Just, please don't blame Willow. Inside, Makoto was smug. If taking a beating today could win him more of Willow's sympathy, then it was totally worth it. Chapter 5. Oh yeah, since you asked for it, don't blame me for being rough. I sneered, grabbed his hair, and slapped that baby smooth. Prettier than a woman face 3 times. Smack, smack, smack. Makoto's face swelled up instantly, but there was a flicker of madness in his eyes, and he still had the nerve to act tough. President Wong, are you satisfied now? Satisfied? We're just getting started. I kicked him over and then followed up with several hard stomps. Everyone in the company was stunned. I used to be suppressed and humiliated by Vice President Liu. even though I was technically the boss. Most people looked down on me like I was a spineless joke, but now, this furious version of me left them all shaken to the core. Willow finally panicked and shouted, "Stop it." Hearing her voice, Makoto's tears mixed with the pain, but inwardly, he was feeling smug. He thought, this beating wasn't for nothing. But Makoto's smugness didn't last long, because I didn't stop. I kept kicking him, harder and harder. Makoto began trembling from the pain. Finally, real fear set in. "Willow, save me," he cried out. Willow looked at the bruised and battered Makoto, and the pain in her eyes was impossible to hide. She rushed over and tried to pull me away. "George, that's enough. Makoto's so kind. How can you treat him like this? George, you're going way too far." "Kind? Willow, don't tell me you can't see what a pretentious coquette he really is. You know damn well we're about to get married, and he still clings to you every single day. That's your idea of kind. And this whole, transfer the shares to me, plan, wasn't that his idea?" Willow finally gave up pretending. She snapped and shouted at me. "So what if it was? Not only did you refuse to give me the shares, now you're resorting to violence. Makoto was right after all, you just never loved me enough." Chapter 6. At that point, I knew Willow was beyond saving. I've always lived by one rule: if I can solve it with action, I don't waste time talking. So I slapped her across the face. "Love you? You're out here cheating on me and still expect me to love you? Screw that." Willow, after being slapped again and again in front of the entire company, completely snapped. "George." Her fists clenched, body trembling, she roared with fury, "You kneel and apologize, right now. Or I'll call the police. You're just jealous and trying to get my attention, but there has to be a limit. You assaulted me and Makoto in front of everyone. If you don't apologize, I'll have you arrested." Willow stared at me, trying to find a trace of panic on my face, but she found nothing. I leisurely sat down in my office chair, looked at her with a mocking smile, and said, "Call the police if you want. Willow, I won't stop you, but before that, let's settle some accounts. You've been VP for 2 years now. Embezzled. What? Over 8 million yuan. What do you think would happen if I reported you? How many years do you think you'd get?" The bullet comments were still coming in like a flood. "He's lost his mind. George has completely lost it. Not only is he beating people, now he's pulling out financial records. This guy's the worst male lead ever. Come on. So she spent a little money. What's the big deal? Isn't a man supposed to earn money for his woman? He's just trying to get her attention in the most toxic way possible. Typical men behavior." The guy looks calm, but he's probably panicking like crazy deep down. I bet next second he'll drop to his knees and beg. Wang the dog has no spine. But some comments had a different tone. Wow, they really flipped the script hard in this adaptation. Why do I suddenly find the male lead kinda badass? I ignored all the bullet comments. Chapter 7. Back then, the original George once gave Willow a black card, but she rejected it, saying she wanted to earn and spend her money through her own efforts. That moved the original George to tears. He started simping for her even harder, head over heels. Once she had him wrapped around her finger, Willow grew more and more brazen, repeatedly embezzling company funds for her personal spending. And every time, the original George patched up the financial holes she left behind. This woman, what a textbook case of acting like a saint while playing dirty. As soon as I said this, Willow's face went pale as a sheet. "Why, you're lying." Her voice trembled as she tried to hold herself together. "That never happened. You're slandering me." But her eyes darted away in panic. She couldn't even look at me. Sweat dripped steadily from her forehead. I let out a cold sneer. "Lying. One audit will clear that up. Want me to call in the finance team?" Now she was really panicking. Her face turned even whiter. "George, I'm your girlfriend. So what if I spent a little of your money? Do you have to be this petty?" I looked at her like she was an idiot. I might be the majority shareholder of Wang Group, but I'm not the only one. You didn't spend my personal money. You embezzled funds and harmed the company. You think that's a small issue? It's just 8 million. I'll pay you back. All right. I laughed coldly. If she could pay back 8 million, would she have needed to embezzle in the first place? Sure. And how exactly does Miss Liu plan to repay it? Willow froze. She hadn't expected me to humiliate her in front of everyone without the slightest hesitation. "Forget the interest. Let's just call it compensation for your and Makoto's medical bills. Pay up." "Miss Liu, don't tell me, after all that tough talk, you can't actually cough up the cash." Willow was baffled. Weren't we here to force him into transferring the shares? How did it flip into me owing money? She was now completely stuck, but still tried to save face. I didn't bring it right now. Can I give it to you later?" Some employees who had always been fed up with Willow and Makoto burst into laughter. Willow's face darkened even more. She walked over to Makoto and took the watch and car keys from him. Makoto looked reluctant. Willow whispered something in his ear. Only then did he grudgingly hand them over. I could pretty much guess what she said. Something like, he's just mad because we're too close and he's feeling insecure. Let me soothe him a little, he'll be back to simping in no time. She probably thought I was just throwing a tantrum and that, after some coaxing, I'd return to being her loyal doormat. All she needed to do was hand me a new blank promise. And naive little Makoto, fresh out of college, would fall in line like a puppy. Sure enough, Willow placed the watch and keys on my desk. In a soft, coquettish voice, she said, "George, I know you're just jealous. This watch and car are worth about $3 million. I'll pay you the rest bit by bit. Don't be mad anymore. Okay, I'll make it up to you tonight." Chapter 8. Right after she finished speaking, she tried to grab Makoto and make a run for it. I shouted sharply, "Stop right there." Willow turned around with an awkward smile. I stared at her coldly, then suddenly let out a chuckle. "Thanks for the reminder. Let me formally inform you, you're fired, and you're no longer my fiancée. You're banned from stepping foot in my house ever again." Willow was dumbstruck, her face brimming with suppressed anger. Her expression shifted again and again, but in the end, she didn't dare explode. "George, stop messing around. You know I love you, and you can't live without me. Don't say things you'll regret later, okay?" The commotion had drawn security to the door long ago. I gestured for the head of security to come in and said coldly, "From now on, if Willow so much as sets foot in the building, you're fired." "Yes, President Wong." Willow was livid, her pretty face flushed red with rage. "George, have you gone completely crazy? I already backed down for you. What more do you want?" "What do I want? I want you to lose everything." Women like Willow are absolutely toxic. She enjoyed the luxurious life and high status I gave her, then had the nerve to keep a boy toy right under my nose. Even worse, she conspired with that boy toy to take down my company. I continued, "You still owe $5 million. Pay up, settle the debt, and then you can get the hell out. If not, I'll sue you whenever I feel like it." Willow was so furious her chest was heaving. "George, you're rich, what's $5 million to you? Don't think just because you've got some damn money you can act like a god. You've already caused a scene, stop pushing my limits again and again." I couldn't be bothered to argue. I made her sign an IOU and gave her 1 month to pay the balance. After she signed, I waved the security guards over, told them to throw her, that sleazeball Makoto, and the female assistant out like trash. Once they were gone, the bullet comments kept flooding in. "What the fuck? Where's the most devoted male lead in the whole novel? I want a refund. He's playing hard to get too much, he's gonna screw it up at this rate. I bet his heart's breaking into pieces even though he looks calm." Classic. And then the opposing side chimed in. "Yo, he really threw them out. Damn, savage. LMAO. This is exactly how you deal with fake girls and pretentious coquettes." Wait, did the spineless loser just become a dominant CEO? Did I click into the wrong show? No joke though, this was so satisfying. Those slaps. Pure art. President Wong, you legend. Chapter 9. Willow grabbed Makoto and got into the limited edition Bentley sports car. It was a brand new purchase of mine, but since Willow liked it, I let her drive it all the time. "Willow, this car is so badass. Can I drive it for a bit?" "Of course, what's mine is yours. You can take it anytime." They switched seats on the spot. "Willow, I still have something to take care of at school. Let's head there first." Of course, there was nothing important waiting at school. He just wanted to show off in a multi-million-dollar supercar. Makoto was just a senior doing his internship. Most of his classmates were buried in books, studying hard for grad school entrance exams. Meanwhile, Makoto was on WeChat every day, posting photos of luxury cars, designer watches, and high-end restaurants. His classmates were green with envy. So when he drove that limited edition supercar onto campus, he instantly became the center of attention. What the fuck? Isn't that Makoto? Even the guy who used to mock Makoto for being from a rural town dropped his textbook in shock. Holy shit, that's a multi-million-dollar limited edition supercar. Where the hell did Makoto get the money? Haven't you seen his social media posts lately? Rumor has it he snagged a trust fund girlfriend. No way. Forget grad school, better to just find a rich cougar. Makoto's the man. Makoto's killing it. That engine sound is insane. Hey, think we could get a ride around campus? Wait, why do they look kinda bruised up? You know nothing. I heard rich people are into some pretty wild stuff. If I had a hot, rich girlfriend like that, I'd gladly get beat up too. Clearly trying to get back at me. The two of them were acting extra flashy. Makoto had his arm tightly wrapped around Willow's slim waist, eyes filled with smug pride. Willow frowned slightly but didn't push him away. To the stunned college crowd, this rich girlfriend had the face of a celebrity. Their envy was off the charts. More and more students gathered around them. Makoto's pride soared as he tightened his grip on Willow. She played along, leaning sweetly into his arms like a delicate little bird. The two of them looked like a fairy tale couple, envy of everyone around. Of course, every move they made was already under my watch. Soon, the police showed up. Excuse us, you two need to come with us to the station. You took this vehicle in broad daylight. The owner has already reported it stolen. They both froze. Willow shouted angrily. You've got it all wrong. This car belongs to my fiancée. How can it be theft if I took my fiancée's car? The crowd gasped. Fiancée's car? This woman's about to get married, and she's still keeping a boy toy. What a trashy gold digger. I knew it. How else could a loser like Makoto land a rich girlfriend? Turns out he's just the side piece, flexing with someone else's car. What a shameless couple of clowns. Makoto's face turned a nasty shade of red. They never expected to be publicly humiliated like this. Unsurprisingly, both of them were taken away by the police for investigation. And the bullet comments exploded. What the fuck? He really called the cops. It's over. The female lead is gonna hate the male lead forever now. It was just a car. Did he really have to report it stolen? So much for being a devoted male lead. Lame. Is no one gonna talk about how fake and disgusting the female lead is? Total pretentious coquette. Finally, the doormat male lead woke up. I'm loving this. Loving it. Chapter 10. By the time the two of them staggered out of the police station, it was already the next day. Willow called me. I pressed answer. Immediately, her furious voice came through the phone. George, Makoto is just a kid, so what if he showed off in your car a little? Did you really have to take it that far and call the police? There's nothing going on between me and Makoto. I was just being extra supportive. You've been jealous enough already. You're the CEO of a publicly traded company. Can't you act a little more magnanimous? I'm telling you, there's a limit to this whole playing hard to get thing. I couldn't be bothered to waste more time arguing. Willow, shut the hell up. You've got 1 month to pay back that $5 million. Clock's ticking. I could hear her breath catch on the other end. She was pissed. She practically screamed. George. Fine. You simped for me for years. I don't believe for a second you just stopped loving me overnight. You're just trying to force me to beg, aren't you? You think I'll fall for that? Well, hear this. I'm not marrying you in a month. I'm going to marry Makoto. Let's see if you'll be groveling at my feet by then. Click. She hung up. Typical female romance drama logic. Even after everything, she still thought I was joking. She was just a used-up piece of trash. And yet she acted like she was some priceless gem. Clearly, the original George's years of simping had gone straight to her head. The bullet comments rolled in instantly. It's over. The male lead seriously messed up this time. Why isn't he apologizing yet? Hurry up before it's too late. Wait, did the plot just take a sharp turn? So it's finally coming, the heroine's wedding, the male lead's heartbreak, his rooftop jump, and her descent into darkness. Let's go. Can I interrupt? Isn't President Wang actually being the normal one here now? I ignored the comments. Just then, my assistant walked in. President Wang, should we stop covering Willow's mother's medical bills? Not yet. Cut it off in a month. Willow's mother had a serious illness and relied on expensive imported medication to stay alive. Once the payments stopped, she wouldn't last long. Extending it for 1 more month. Think of it as my wedding gift to my former fiancé. Chapter 11. 1 month later, Willow and Makoto's wedding was held in grand fashion. The venue, the 5-star Tianlan Hotel. The original George had bought Willow loads of luxury items over the years. Selling off a few was more than enough to fund a lavish ceremony. The hotel was owned by an old friend of mine. I had long since secured access to the full surveillance of the banquet hall. There was no way I was going to miss this show. The footage was crystal clear, so clear. In fact, I could even hear their conversations word for word. The banquet hall was packed with guests. Relatives and friends from both the Liu and Ito families were all there. Most of Ito's family were from the countryside. When they heard Makoto Ito was marrying a vice president from a listed company, they were grinning from ear to ear, acting happier than if it were their own weddings. The whole hall was buzzing with noise. In contrast, the faces on the Liu family's side looked terrible. Though not rich, the Liu family at least had city household registration. They looked down on these country relatives with scorn. In their eyes, the Ito family was low-class and embarrassing. Originally, they had expected Willow to marry the CEO of Wang Group. Now, she had downgraded to this. Willow only had a gravely ill mother and a good-for-nothing younger brother. None of her relatives had any real authority over her. They had tried to talk her out of it, but when she refused to listen, they gave up. As soon as Makoto and Willow appeared, they were instantly swarmed by his side of the family. Makoto's mother pulled Willow over and beamed with joy. Oh my, Makoto really found himself a wonderful wife, a vice president at a listed company, no less. Willow, Makoto told us you're going to give him a luxury car and a big villa after the wedding, is that true? Chapter 12. Willow's face darkened slightly. She had said all that, but it was just casual talk at the time. Where would she find the money now to buy Makoto a luxury car and a villa? In truth, she never planned to actually marry him. This whole wedding was just a stunt to provoke me. She didn't believe for a second that I, after simping for her so many years, would just give up, like flipping a switch. She was sure I'd show up to crash the wedding. She even posted all the wedding details on her WeChat feed. Convinced that once I saw it, I wouldn't be able to take it, but for now, she still had to keep up appearances. Thinking this through, she quickly put on a bright smile. Of course, once Makoto and I are married, we'll be one family. Of course I'll buy him a luxury car and a big villa. I'll make sure it's big enough to move all of you into the city to live with us. Makoto was overjoyed. He had her say that in front of everyone on purpose, so she couldn't back out later. He figured that, after all her years with me, even if she wasn't VP anymore, there was no way her bank account was empty. But Makoto was still too young and naive. Though Willow had drained quite a lot from the original George, most of it had been gambled away by her useless little brother. Why else would she have resorted to embezzling company funds? Makoto's mom gripped Willow's hand tighter and grinned so wide her mouth nearly touched her ears. Oh, Willow, you're such a thoughtful girl. Makoto's lucky to have landed a wife like you. He must have saved the whole galaxy in a past life. Relatives from the Ito family quickly chimed in. I knew it. I watched Makoto grow up. I always said he was destined for great things. Look at him now, not only got into a top university, but landed a rich, beautiful wife too. Your Ito family is really blessed. Get ready to enjoy the good life. Right, Makoto's marrying a VP of a listed company. Fancy cars, big mansions, he'll have so much face. Among all our relatives' kids, Makoto's the most successful for sure. I wish Makoto were my son, ha ha ha. Makoto's mom beamed with pride. Our Makoto has always been an outstanding boy. He's got a good heart and knows how to treat women right. He's more than a match for Willow. The wedding ceremony was officially beginning. The bullet comments were going wild. Ahhh, the wedding is starting. Here comes the chaos. What is George even doing? Still watching from home. If he doesn't leave now, he won't make it in time to jump off the building. Place your bets. Will George show up or not? I've got 50 cents on yes. President Wong, please go. If you don't jump, the female lead can't go dark mode. It's over. The deeply in love male lead persona is crumbling. Wait, is George seriously over it? Like, completely. And then another faction started chiming in. Can I just say, why the hell should a CEO jump off a building just to make his ex regret it? President Wong is finally seeing things clearly. Staying away from toxic women is the real win. Chapter 13. I couldn't be bothered with the bullet comments. I calmly kept watching the surveillance footage, but Willow was clearly distracted, glancing toward the banquet hall entrance again and again, her thoughts spiraling. Damn it, why hasn't George shown up yet? Am I really going to marry Makoto? Makoto's young. Sure, but he can't give me the life I want. Do you, the bride, take Mr. Makoto Ito to be your husband? The officiant's voice snapped Willow out of her thoughts. Willow stammered, unable to get a word out. Guests exchanged awkward glances. Makoto's expression immediately darkened. I object. A sudden shout rang out. The banquet hall doors flew open, and in walked a pregnant woman with a swollen belly. It was Maria, Makoto's childhood sweetheart. Tears streaked down Maria's face as she stood at the entrance. Her sudden appearance stunned the entire hall. Every eye locked onto her. Makoto turned ghostly pale. Makoto, you promised to take responsibility for me. Maria's voice trembled as it echoed through the deathly silent hall. I'm pregnant, and now you're marrying someone else. How could you be so heartless? This wasn't what Willow expected. She didn't get George crashing the wedding. She got this mess instead. Staring at the girl's obvious baby bump, Willow felt dizzy. Anyone with a brain could tell. Out of the three of them, Willow was now the homewrecker. Fury boiled in her chest. She glared at Makoto and shouted, Makoto, what the hell is going on? You'd better have a damn good explanation. Makoto panicked. Sweat rolled down his forehead in large drops. Willow, please, let me explain. Maria and it was just a mistake, a moment of weakness. Smack. Willow slapped him across the face, eyes blazing with rage. Makoto, you've completely disappointed me. Makoto's mother quickly jumped in, shrieking and pointing a finger at Maria. You shameless slut, who invited you here to ruin my son's wedding? And who knows whose baby that is? Don't even think about pinning this on Makoto. Auntie, how could you say that? Maria sobbed in frustration. Makoto and I grew up together. We've been childhood sweethearts since forever. If this woman hadn't barged in out of nowhere, we would have already been together. You're just a poor little country girl. What could you possibly give my son? Only someone like Willow, wealthy and accomplished, deserves my precious boy. The crowd was in uproar. Guests who had just been flattering the Ito family now looked at them with scorn. Willow's younger brother was fuming. He stormed up and grabbed Makoto, beating him mercilessly. You bastard. My sister was supposed to marry President Wong, and it's all your damn fault. You useless boy toy. I swear I'll beat you to death today. The entire wedding descended into chaos. Chapter 14. Willow finally realized the magnitude of her mistake. I hadn't shown up from beginning to end. That's when the panic finally hit her. Holding up her wedding dress, she stumbled and ran out of the banquet hall. But the moment she reached the exit, she was greeted by 2 court officials. Miss Liu, this is a court summons. As the defendant in an ongoing case, you are required to appear in court at the time and place listed on the document. The bullet comments exploded. What the fuck, what the fuck? Plot twist of the century just dropped. She waited for the male lead's corpse but got served a summons instead. From tragedy to revenge fantasy in one chapter, this is next level writing. Look, her face literally turned green. I can't breathe from laughing. This is what it really means to blow everything up. Karma's a bitch. You guys don't get it. The male lead doesn't love her anymore. That's why this story is suddenly fire. Willow's mind went completely blank. It felt like someone had taken a sledgehammer to her skull. She kept muttering in disbelief. No, no way, this can't be happening. She stood frozen in place, unable to move. She just couldn't wrap her head around it. I was really suing her. At that moment, she finally understood. I wasn't playing games. I had truly, completely given up on her, and I was ready to send her to prison. Otherwise, I wouldn't have skipped the warning calls. I sent the court instead. A wave of fear slithered into her chest like a venomous snake. It coiled around her heart, tightening. Regret was eating her alive. And now, she finally realized just how serious this was. Panicked, she flagged down a car and rushed toward my villa. As for how the court officials had found the wedding venue so quickly, naturally, I arranged it. Knowing I'd been inserted into this novel universe, I anticipated changes in the plot, so I'd taken extra steps, including sending bodyguards to ensure Maria arrived on time. Half an hour later, the butler knocked on my study door. Young master, Miss Liu has arrived. She's kneeling at the gate. Got it. Chapter 15. I picked up a bottle of red wine and calmly walked out the front door. There was Willow, kneeling on the ground. All her usual arrogance had completely vanished, replaced with desperation and groveling. Well, if it isn't Miss Liu herself, why are you here on your big wedding day? Shouldn't you be off celebrating? Willow flinched, then crawled forward to grab the hem of my pants. George. I was wrong. Please, forgive me. Okay. I never really planned to marry Makoto. I just wanted to get a reaction out of you. George, please believe me, there's nothing going on between us. I swear I'll never do anything like this again. Give me one more chance. I'll do whatever you say. The bullet comments exploded again. What the fuck, this just turned into a male fantasy novel. The female leads on her knees, and President Wang is cold as ice. Iconic. Now this is a real CEO. Not like that spineless simp from before. I'm sold. I'm officially a fan. This is what peak drama looks like. I uncorked the wine, and poured it slowly over her head. Willow's face twisted, but she didn't dare dodge. The red wine trickled down her neatly pinned hair, soaking her snow-white wedding gown in a crimson wash. She stared up at me in shock. Droplets of wine clung to her lashes, just like the tears she'd shed 2 years ago, when her mother was gravely ill. Back then, she'd looked up at the original George the same way, crying, "George, my mom's dying. I don't know what to do. Please, help me." Who would have thought that 2 years later, she'd be the one forcing that same man to sign away his shares, leaving him with nothing, while she ran off to marry another man. Nothing going on. Huh? I echoed her words with a cold smile, then smashed the bottle down beside her onto the marble steps. The glass shattered with a sharp crack, making Willow flinch hard. Willow, do you think I'm stupid? You're still lying to my face. I stared down at her with undisguised contempt. What are you even worth? You're an ungrateful, disgusting, manipulative snake, and you still dare to stand in front of me and lie. She clung to my pant leg, panic all over her face. George, I'm telling the truth. I swear, there's nothing between me and Makoto. Give me just one more chance. It was my fault. I crossed the line. I'll never talk to him again. Okay. You know I only ever loved you. Please. George, please believe me. I was out of patience. I slapped her across the face. Believe you? My ass. Have you looked at yourself? I threw a stack of photos straight at her face. Every single one showed her and Makoto, hugging, kissing, walking into hotels together. Even screenshots of Makoto's smug, taunting messages to me. Willow, we broke up a long time ago. Who you sleep with is none of my business, but you dared to come back and try to play me again. You think I wouldn't hit back? The bullet comments were now fully unhinged. What the fuck? She's been lying the whole time. She's so gross. President Wang going full savage mode. This is a real man. If this were ancient times, she'd already be tied to a stake. I take it back. I used to think Wang was just a dumb simp. I was wrong. This is 10 out of 10 revenge. Then one lone comment tried to stir the pot. Come on. She only made the kind of small mistake every woman makes at some point. Does it really deserve all this? Shut up, came the unified reply from the rest of the audience. Chapter 16. Willow stared at the pile of explicit photos and taunting text scattered across the ground. It was like she had been struck by lightning. Her mind went completely blank. There was no denying it now. The evidence was damning, and right in her face. Willow, and you still dare to say you love me? You still claim you're innocent? God, you disgust me. I know why you came here today. Relax, I'm not dropping the lawsuit and your mother's medical payments. They'll stop too. How many years you'll serve, and how long she'll live, that's up to fate now. Willow turned ghostly pale. Her eyes filled with hopelessness. Only now did she realize how deeply she had messed up. She dropped to her knees, tears streaming down her face. She kowtowed repeatedly, her forehead slamming into the stone. Thump, thump, thump. George, please don't do this to me. Don't sue me. Don't cut off the medical bills. I was wrong. I swear I was wrong. I'll do anything you say. Just please, give me another chance. I smirked. Yep, it was about time. I crouched down, gripped her chin, and forced her to look into my eyes. Willow, I did love you once, so I'll give you a chance, but everything you and Makoto did pissed me off. Figure out what it'll take to make me happy. Then I let go and turned to walk back inside. Just before stepping through the door, I tossed one final line over my shoulder. Willow, you could have been Mrs. Wong, but now, look at yourself, groveling at my feet like a stray dog. Tell me, who's really to blame? I watched as the fire of rage began to spark in her eyes. Someone was about to have a very bad day, because when a woman finally snaps, she can be far more vicious than any man. With that, I shut the door with a bang. The bullet comments lit up like fireworks. Wait, plot twist incoming. Is the female lead about to go full dark mode? President Wong is unreal. Dude has built-in plot correction power. LOL. It's happening. Makoto the pretentious coquette is done. The hype is real. Chapter 17. The next time I saw Makoto, it was in a half-finished, abandoned construction site. Looks like Willow had sold off her last few luxury goods and used the cash to have him dragged here, given that she used to be the VP of Wong Group. It wasn't surprising she still knew some shady characters. For safety, I brought a full security team. It hadn't even been a few days, but Makoto already looked like a wreck, covered in bruises, barely alive. As soon as he saw me, fear filled his eyes. He immediately dropped to his knees and started kowtowing like his life depended on it. Thump, thump, thump. President Wong, I was wrong. Please forgive me. I'll never do anything like this again. Please, I'm begging you. Before I could say a word, Willow lifted a thick wooden stick and slammed it down on Makoto's right leg. Crack. His leg burst open in a bloody mess. Bones snapped, twisted, mangled. Makoto let out a bone-chilling scream. Willow looked up at me, but when she saw no reaction, no mercy in my eyes, she gritted her teeth and kept swinging. Over and over, she shattered all 4 of his limbs. Her eyes burned with madness. This is all your fault, Makoto. If it weren't for you, I wouldn't have lost everything. You ruined me. You deserve this. She'd completely snapped. I glanced at Makoto. Blood was pooling fast. Even if someone called an ambulance now, he probably wouldn't survive. I was done playing. With a wave of my hand, I signaled the bodyguards. Restrain Willow. Call the cops. Hand over all the footage we recorded. I'm a good citizen. After all, we must never let criminals, parasites like this, slip through the cracks. The bodyguards tackled Willow to the ground. Her eyes were bloodshot as she stared up at me. George, you set me up. You planned this, didn't you? You bastard. You'll die a horrible death. Chapter 18. I couldn't be bothered to respond. I turned and walked away. Behind me, Willow's voice echoed like a banshee's wail. George, you bastard. I swear I'll haunt you even after I'm dead. George, I was wrong. Please, let me go. I promise I'll disappear forever. George. The bullet comments exploded again. LMAO, the female lead's mind just snapped. Her worldview is shattered. What the fuck? The entire thing was planned by the male lead. President Wong literally rewrote the tragedy into a revenge fantasy masterpiece. George equals God-tier strategist. This script flip is genius. Then, one dissonant voice chimed in. I don't get you guys and your male fantasy logic. Shouldn't the ending be them reconciling and healing together? And the response came like a tsunami. No, this is what real male fantasy looks like. This is peak catharsis. President Wong is a legend. George, descended from the heavens. Finally, a real man. This was glorious. Looks like it's wrapping up. Throw the confetti. This ending blows all that beta simp trash out of the water. Finally, sweet, sweet payoff. What surprised me most, Makoto actually survived. A medical miracle, honestly, but with all 4 limbs shattered. He was completely crippled for life. He'd never walk again, never even sit up. And Willow, sentenced to life in prison. Her nightmare had only just begun. The original protagonist truly had no brains at all. He was worth billions, he could have had any woman he wanted, and yet he insisted on falling in love with that pathetic mess. In the days that followed, whenever I was in a bad mood, I'd go visit the prison. Every time Willow saw me, she'd lose her mind, and somehow, like magic, my mood would instantly improve. It was absolutely incredible.